How can we bridge social differences in our society? At the end of this lesson, you should be able to describe different aspects of life in which women are discriminated or are at a disadvantage in India. Explain the concept of a feminist and the feminist movement. Give examples for increasing role of women in public life. Describe the status of women representation in India's legislative bodies. What differences do you see in the work performed by men and women in these scenarios? Women in the first set are engaged in household work inside their homes, and men in the second set are engaged in different jobs outside home. Work done by women in the first set are usually not paid, except if they are done by domestic helpers, but work done by men in the second set are always paid for. This is a reflection of sexual division of labor, which is practiced in most of the families in our country. Women work inside the home and do various chores such as cooking, cleaning, washing clothes, tailoring, looking after the children, etc., and men work outside the home to earn money. What do you think is the sexual division of labor? Sexual division of labor is a system in which all work inside the home is either done by women of the family or organized by them through the domestic helpers. Women not only work inside their homes but outside homes too. Can you name some work women perform outside their homes? In villages, women fetch water, collect fuel, or work in farms. In urban areas, middle-class women work in offices and poor women work as domestic helpers. But their work at times is not valued and does not get due recognition. Have you seen men doing work that are typically categorized as work done by women? Cooking is considered to be a job done by women, but there are many cooks and chefs in hotel who are males. Similarly, women stitch clothes at home, but most of the tailors are men. Do you find any difference in men and women doing the same job like cooking, tailoring, etc.? Men take up such works when they are paid for it, but women are not paid for the household work they do. As a result of this division of labor, women's role in public life, especially politics, is minimal in most societies, though they constitute half of the humanity. Recall what we learnt about German National Assembly of 1948 from our history class. Women were just allowed in the visitors' gallery in the assembly. They were deprived of all political rights, including suffrage. Earlier, only men were allowed to participate in public affairs, vote, and contest for public offices. What do you think was the consequence of this widespread discrimination against women? Gradually, women from different parts of the world agitated for equal rights. These agitations demanded enhancing the political and legal status of women and improving their education and career opportunities. These movements are known as feminist movements. Feminist is a man or woman who believes in equal rights and opportunities for women and men. Political expression of gender division helped to improve the role of women in public life. Now, we have women associated with all the fields. In our country, women are still considered as ideal beauty for fashion industry, ideal bride that can offer good amount of dowry, ideal viewers for serial makers, ideal housewife who can handle all the household work. Do you think it is a right perception for an ideal woman? No. In the age of globalization, women should be equal to men in all aspects, but women still lag far behind in our country despite considerable improvements in their status since independence. What do you think are the reasons for such a situation? We still have a patriarchal male-dominated society, the system that values men more and gives them power over women. Women are discriminated as they are born. Have a look at the literacy rate, which is 82.14% for male and 65.46% for female. What do you think are the reasons for such a huge difference in the male and female literacy rate? In many areas, parents prefer to spend money on their boys' education rather than spending equally on both the boy and the girl child. This trend is seen more among the economically weaker sections of the society. Look at the map that represents the child-sex ratio, the number of girls per thousand boys. The national average of child-sex ratio is 933 female per thousand male. In many areas, it is reduced to even below 800. Why do you think some regions have less number of girls to boys? In many parts of India, parents prefer to have sons and find ways to have girl child aborted before she is born. It is very sad that in India, there are many places where parents willingly kill the newborn if it is a girl. Hey, look at the table below, which shows the average number of hours worked by both men and women. What do you observe? On an average, Indian women work 1 hour more than men every day. Yet, much of their work is not paid and therefore often not valued. Moreover, the proportion of women in the highly paid and valued jobs is still small. Women are discriminated with respect to wages in most of the areas, though the Equal Wages Act provides that equal wages should be paid to equal work. In reality, from sports to cinemas, factories to field, women are paid less than men. Recall and summarize the ways women are discriminated in our country. Parents prefer to spend their resources for their boys' education rather than spending equally on their sons and daughters. Proportion of women among the highly paid and valued jobs is still very small. On an average, an Indian woman works more hours than a man. In almost all areas of work, from sports to cinema, factories and field, women are paid less than the men. In many parts of India, parents prefer to have their sons and find ways to have the girl child aborted before she is born. This is reflected well in the child-sex ratio in our country. Have a look at the graph. In India, the proportion of women in legislature has been very low. In fact, India is at the bottom of the group of nations in the world. The average number of women legislators is even less than several developing countries of Africa and Latin America. The percentage of elected women members in Lok Sabha has never reached even 10% of the total strength. Their share in the state assemblies is less than 5%. In the government, cabinets are largely male-dominated even when a woman becomes the chief minister or prime minister. Did you know 61 female members have been elected to the 15th Lok Sabha, which is the highest number of women MPs ever elected since independence? Can you think of some reasons why women representation is so low in India? The low representation of women in political sphere is linked with the low and inferior status of women in Indian society. As a culminating effect of low female literacy rate, low sex ratio, unrecognized and undervalued work for women, they tend to lack self-confidence and skills needed to function effectively in the political sphere. Can you suggest some ways to improve the status of women participation in politics? One way to solve this problem is to make it legally binding to have a fair proportion of women in the elected bodies. This is done in Panchayati Raj system of our country, where 1/3 of seats in local government bodies are reserved for women. Now, there are more than 10 lakh elected women representatives in rural and urban local bodies. Women organizations and activists have been demanding a similar reservation of at least 1/3 seats in the Lok Sabha and state assemblies for women. A bill with this proposal has been pending before the Parliament for more than a decade. The bill was drafted first by H.D. Devegowda, who led United Front government, and was introduced in the Lok Sabha on September 12, 1996. But the bill with this proposal has been pending before the Parliament for more than 15 years. Do you agree that gender division should be expressed in politics? Gender division is an example that some forms of social divisions needs to be expressed in politics. This also shows that disadvantaged groups are benefited when social divisions become a political issue. Women will not be able to gain equal status and rights as men without raising this issue in the political domain.